What's up, public speaking? Greetings Monday, Friday class. Greetings Tuesday, Thursday class. Hello, hello, hello. This is video number 2 for you all. I just got done making you another video all about the power of persuasion, right? A bit of a lesson plan of what are all the components that you'll need in regards to your persuasive speech, right? There was a little bit of kind of ideas and what it all looks like to put together a persuasive speech. And what's this video all about, you ask? Well, this video is a little bit more about logistics, about how do you record, right? Let's put it this way. That other video was more about content and some structure, of course. This video is more about structure and some content, of course, right? They go together, right? But this video, I want to talk a bit about logistics, and I also want to talk about, I'm going to give you a bit of a persuasive speech as well, to give you an example of mine and what it looks like. So, a couple things. So what we're going to do is this persuasive speech, right? So, personal introduction was 60 to 90 seconds. Informative speech was 2 to 3 minutes. Commemorative was 3 to 4 minutes. And then report speech, which you just did, was 4 to 5 minutes. And for this next speech, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a larger buffer, and we're going to do your persuasive speech is going to be 5 to 7 minutes. So all the other ones were generally like a minute buffer. This one we're going to do 5 to 7 minutes. That way you've got a bit of like a leeway in your speech. So 5 to 7 minutes for persuasive speech. Some things. You have to record horizontally. There's a few of you that are still recording vertically. Nuh-uh. You've got to record horizontally. That's how we see the world. That's how we look at the world. We look left to right. Think about when you cross the street, right? You look left, you look right, you look left again. Unless you're in England, then you look right, left, right. So you've got to record it horizontally. But if you're like, but Nikki, if I'm standing, I have to record it vertically. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's talk about that, right? First of all, if you're standing, absolutely record vertically, because absolutely record horizontally. Absolutely, you still have to record horizontally, because that's how the world is. We want to see this left to right. This like, if you are standing like here, like in the middle, and I don't want to just see like this little view of you. I want to see the span. This is how we look at the world. We look at the world through left and right. I can't express that enough. So this whole standing thing. So for your first 3 speeches, you stood. For a report speech that you just did, you sat. Why did I have a hard time with that word? So you sat. This one, I'm going to actually make it up to you. Completely your call. If you want to stand, if you want to sit, if you want to do a combination of either one, doesn't matter to me. But what I do ask, excuse me, what I do ask of you is that whatever you choose, standing, sitting, or combo, you must do it with purpose. You must be intentional with your sitting, with your standing. So what does that mean, intentional? I want you to use the space. I don't want you just to like sit down and record and be like, hey, I'm just going to give you my speech, right? Like if you're going to sit, own the space. Own this, and be like, hey, I'm even going to show you some visuals, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want you to own the space. No different. If you are going to stand, I want you to stand with purpose. None of this stuff is new. We've been talking about this all semester long. Stand with purpose. Stand tall. Stand with your shoulders back. Stand with your feet apart. Stand with intention, right? In the last video I just showed you, or that I just made for you, is that everything is purposeful. Sometimes we don't know the purpose, but there's a purpose for all of this. So stand with, be intentional. Be intentional with your sitting. Now, if you are going to do a combination of both, absolutely not a problem. But have a reason for it. Don't just be like, hey, I'm going to tell you the story about, I'm going to persuade you on whatever it is. But you know what? Now I'm just going to stand up, right? Like, no. Like, you've got to be intentional with what you are. Like, make it be part of your talk. Make it look like a non-issue. Make it look, I don't want to use the word flawless because that's not the right word, but make it look like it's not a big deal. If you stood up, think of it, it's almost like a gesture, like moving across the room or using like your body language, or like standing, sitting, combination of both. It's all part of your body language. So whatever it is, just be intentional with it. So visuals. So let's talk about that. I'm going to show you some visuals. I've got a few photos. Visuals, you can use them. You don't have to use them. They are completely up to you. It's not going to be part of the rubric. So if you use them, fine. If you don't use them, fine. It's completely up to you. What I don't want is you don't have to create a visuals and be like, well, this is what I would use if I could show them. Because I recognize that not everybody has got the capability of recording and showing a visual in the back. Like, I get it. It's not, but you don't have to submit visuals and say, well, this is what I would use if I could show them. Like, it doesn't matter because you're not going to be graded on them. I'm happy to look over any visuals for you if you are going to use them when you speak. But it's absolutely not required. Like I said, it's not going to be in the rubric. It's just not going to be part of it. If you do use visuals, less is more, right? Be simplistic about what you choose. You just saw the last video with all of that amazing information there for you. And my PowerPoint was super simple. It was very limited it was white letters on a black screen. And then the few visuals that I had were super simple. Any PowerPoint that I've shown you throughout the semester, my visuals were always very simple. You don't want your visuals to overpower you as a speaker. Also, if you decide to use a photo, blow that photo up. Put the photo on the whole screen. You don't have to put it like in this tiny little screen with like words underneath that say like, you know, me and my friend, right? That's not what this is, because you can say like, hey, this is me and my friend. You don't have to have like a caption on the bottom. And also, you don't need like a crazy background. You don't need bright colors in the background. Just black. Just plain black. White sometimes looks like you forgot to put a background. So I always recommend black. It's very simple. It's very low key. It's like you're a ninja, right? You're like, oh, look at this photo. Boom, boom, right there. But I'm happy to look at anything that you want to show, but it is not, visual is not required for this. So you've got to record it horizontal. You've got 5 to 7 minutes to persuade. We're going to talk about same thing, announcement, body, closer, right? Same thing, the ABCs. You need an announcement, you need a body, and you need a closer. And all this stuff is going to be in Canvas. And I also wanted to give you a bit of a persuasive speech so I can share with you on like my version of it. So with that, I take a drink of water. Take that deep breath. I'm all like full of energy because I'm all excited to make these videos for you. I actually, as much as like I hate not being with you all. Like I hate not, right? Because like we're so close. Like we're so close to the finish line. Do you see it? It's right there. Like we have just a few weeks left. We're almost there. And like it bums me out that I can't hang out with you. But at least I'm glad we have these videos. Like I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. And I want your comments. So comment below. Comment down below because I want some comments from you. So I know you watched it and we need feedback, right? We definitely need feedback. So yeah. All right, let's talk about some stuff. So this is my persuasive speech for you. It was about 6 years ago, and I was at this company and I was doing some workshops for this company, which I still do from time to time. And at the time I was doing them pretty regularly. And I'd go to these companies and I'd do a workshop on communication, public speaking, empowerment, how to own who you are, those kind of things. And I was talking casually afterwards with an acquaintance. This was certainly not a friend, but an acquaintance nonetheless. I run into her every once in a while. And she said to me, or we were just chatting, or she comes up to me and she's like, so, what's your real job? And I said, well, this is my real job. I said, this is my real job. And she's like, well, no, like real job. And I was like, but this is my real job. And she's like, no, like, something that like you get paid for. And I looked at her and I said, I do get paid for this. I do get paid for being here. This is how I make a living. And she goes, oh, okay. The conversation just kind of fizzled out because I didn't know what else to say to her besides this is my real job that I get paid for. And then, we were just chit-chatting, small talk kind of continues, and it came up that she lived in Roscoe Village in the city. And at the time, Chad and I, my husband, we had just moved out of Roscoe Village. And I said, Chad and I, we used to live in Roscoe Village. I said, we just moved out. And she's like, oh, how come? How come you moved out? And I said, well, like our landlords were basically dying. I said, we had to find a new place. And so now we're renting up in Lincoln Square. And she's like, wow, what a waste of rent all those years, or what a waste of money all those years to rent. And I looked at her, I was like, oh, I don't think it was a waste of money, And I said, I don't really have a desire to buy a house, but, and she's like, I just think that's a lot of money to waste all those years to rent. And just let that conversation go. And then the next thing, we're chit-chatting, we're continuing the small talk. I mean, this is super casual. These conversations are like not long at all. And she says to me, she's like, so, do you and your husband have kids? And I said, no. I said, we decided to, he's got a son from a previous marriage, but we decided not to have kids. And she looks at me, and she touches my arm and said, it's never too late. And I decided just to let that go. And I decided to not have a conversation with her about how Chad and I talked about it for 10 years, we talked about our whole relationship, if we were going to go that route, if we weren't. I didn't have a conversation with her about, did Chad and I talk about adoption? Did Chad and I try and I miscarried? Did Chad and I, none of that. I decided to not have that conversation with her. She had no idea if I went through any of that. All she did was say to me, it's never too late. And I realized that in a matter of minutes, I was judged on my job, my housing, and my family. And while I don't know this woman, she was just an acquaintance. We were just having small talk because that's what you talk about in small talk. You talk about your job, you talk about where you live, and you talk about your family. These are conversations that are had all the time. And I realized that in those moments is that she didn't have any ill will. While I don't know her, she didn't have any bad intentions, right? She didn't have anything. I didn't think that she was like malice, right? I didn't think that she was being evil or mean. This was just small talk. But she unintentionally judged me on these 3 items. Now, chances are she probably had a real job, right? A 9-to-5 job. Chances are she probably owned a house. And chances are she probably had kids. Now, these are 3 things at the time I didn't have. Now, I find it interesting that, like, she didn't have any ill will on it. She didn't have any bad intentions on it, but deep down it hurt. Deep down it was painful. And what I realized was that because I didn't possess those things and that she did, or at least I'm guessing that she did, she was saying she was feeling that her life wasn't valid, right? Because we all want people to be like us. We go, oh, I want you to go to this restaurant. I want you to check out this show. I want you to do these things. And I wasn't doing the things that she was doing, right? These are major life choices. right? A career, housing, and family are major, major, major choices that we make. And I didn't have those things. And so I think subconsciously she was thinking that like now her life isn't valid, right? This is all subconscious, but her life has those and I don't. So no, I don't validate her life. And I get that. And that's okay. We don't need other people to validate us. But I can't help but think of that story. And I remember being really upset about that story. I remember I was really hurt by that story. And I'm telling you that story because when you ask somebody something, think about it, that there's always a backstory. There's always a past that people are coming from. And something as simple as judging somebody based on these 3 items, sometimes isn't just as simple as what that is, what it seems like. Sometimes when you say, oh, I can't believe it's a waste of money, or what's your real job, there's some hidden meaning in that. And I'm telling you that story because I want you to think about your words and how they can affect other people. Thank you. So yeah, so that's my speech. I timed it. I actually went over a little bit. It's just over 7 minutes. I stopped it. Yeah, so I said 5 to 7 minutes. I just went over, see? But see, this was the first time I told this story in a long time. I've told that story probably hundreds of times. Hundreds of times. I can tell that story in 2 minutes. I can tell that story in 5 minutes, depending on what I got. This is the first time I told that story, like, in public. I told it last semester when I taught public speaking, and I told that story, I remember, in 6.5 minutes. But if I tell it again, now I know. So I just need practice. That's all it is. So that's my persuasive speech. Now I'm curious about what yours is. Please let me know what kind of questions you have. Please let me know how I can help you. Please let me know what you thought of this persuasive speech. Please don't yell at me for going over 7 minutes. But that was an example, so you have an idea of what that is. I talked about how your announcement, your body, and your closer, they are, and you're like, well, how long should they be? It's up to you. My announcement, my opener was a big, long story. My announcement flowed right into the body. So my announcement kind of was the body. It was sort of, but I started out by telling a story that went, and then my closer was sort of the lesson. And so I want to know your thoughts. I want to know, how do you feel? What did you think of my speech? What do you think about this project? What do you think about this final speech, about the end of the semester? Comment below. This also helps me so I know you watched the video. And please let me know. Please let me know what I can do for you. Please let me know how I can help you. And with that, have an amazing day. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing day. But of course you will, because you are amazing. Take care.